Oh, this is more of a cuckoo hero for sure.
I wish I would speak my mind more, because when I look at the Tide and I'm thinking about magic damage, I'm like, man, Lesh would be great, but I haven't seen T1 play it in for like forever. So I don't see why, like, I didn't think they would just go ahead and pick it. But that's like literally solves every issue. I'm not sure what the matchup's like mid though. Have you seen Queen Lesh?
I think it's more likely to be Io Lesh.
Oh, you think it's gonna be offlane?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a fine matchup.
But isn't it like scary then that you're not gonna get a good matchup mid against Queen if you leave your mid for last pick?
Potentially. Well, they're going to need something to do with this Broodmother for starters. I mean, Leshrak's able to deal with it somewhat later on into the piece, but I mean, this is another one of those games where, unfortunately for T1, they don't have, like, that quick initiation onto someone. Like, you can't get onto the backline super easily. You just have to run through a lot of what they're trying to put up at you. So, kind of similar to what we saw in that Game 3 in the previous series, not today, against Fnatic. The Grimstroke is going to have a pretty nice game. You're going to have if it does go late, you're going to have a nice target for the Dark Portrait in the Wraith King. And, yeah, I feel like you can just sit back and reliably look to soak up a lot of the damage with your other heroes.
I don't think Lesh can go offlane. I think you really need items on Lesh this game. And I think he can farm into the Queen if he goes the... What is it called? Lightning Storm? Lightning Storm, is that it? The Is-E? I think you can lane into her with that. I just think it's really important that Lesh has items and has access to runes, because if he gets a haste, say, then he can go get a free kill on Tidehunter.
Oh, that would have been a nice bristleback pick, actually, if they were able to get it through. Unfortunately not. And even the Legion Commander, like, whenever I see the Tidehunter, my immediate thought was, how are they going to kill him? Like you said, Grip's going to be useless. Wraith King doesn't do much early on. Leshrak is nice, but you don't have that silence that's able to hold him in place. You don't have Legion Commander duel. You don't have... you can't pick a Disruptor at this stage, so... Yeah.
Who says they can't?
Yeah, sure.
What do I want?
I want something to get on the Grimstroke.
They have set up for their relocates. They have physical damage, they have magic damage. They don't have any team fight whatsoever. Tide's gone, Mars is gone.
Hook.
The last time they played this was
I don't want offlane Lesh, man.
And they had Doom. Which...
That's team fight.
Okay.
Okay. It's I think Pango is the type of hero where it's like you see Grim and you're like, okay, that feels bad, but if you're a good Pango, you don't mind so much. If he can go Blink and
Yule's Shard,
yeah, exactly, then you can play around it. You're gonna just be staying in place anyway, trying to
just stay away from the rest of your team.
Yeah, exactly. I think like Pango, his best play can be to just disrupt people or just go in first, and then like Wraith King and Lesh will kind of link up on the side with Io and...
Yep, really like the Pango. I feel like it's going to be good not only against the Grimstroke, but against the Broodmother as well. Hell, even the Tidehunter, right? You can somewhat keep him locked in place. And I feel like it accomplishes that thing that I was wanting, you know, something to engage onto the backline. I think Storm Spirit would have been horrible this game against the Queen of Pain. Void Spirit might have been okay, but I feel like Broodmother would have taken too much of your map in that meantime. So, yeah, picking the Pango seems perfectly fine to me.
I think what T1 are most susceptible to right now are just Orchids. Broodmother tends to buy it in the offlane. Sometimes she buys like Pipe, which I think she will need this game, playing into Lesh and Pango. But if she does have a really good lane, which she probably will, the supports of Bane Io, they have nothing to contest.
Yep.
Then she could go that Orchid, and I think they will all suffer, except like Wraith King.
Yeah, I can agree with that. So SMG, to round this out, Mr. One's hero. What are they going to go?
It's support Tide, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Oh my god.
Against a Lesh.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, oh my god, that's a good anti-mage pick.
Do you see it coming at all?
I didn't think about it. I don't think about anti-mage.
I don't think about anti-mage. It doesn't exist in my mind.
Very much.
Well, then, looking at both these drafts finished, is the one that you think is going to be executed a lot better? One that you enjoy more in this matchup?
I think SMG's is way easier than T1's. I think T1 can still win. Like, Wraith King is not a bad matchup into anti-mage. He hits like a truck. Especially when he gets Armlet Deso.
The thing is, like we said before, IO, Bane, they don't contest this Broodmother at all, especially when you're looking to start pushing with your little Spideys. So Lesh, Pango, they're the ones that are going to need to rotate. It frees up a ton of space for the Anti-Mage because early on, Wraith King isn't going to be able to deal with the Anti-Mage. It needs to be Pango, it needs to be Leshrac dealing with him. So I feel like mid one's going to have a lot of space created for him. It's just, what does he do with that space?
Runes are so important. They need to go ham trying to get power runes for T1. Otherwise, I don't see how they win this game.
Well, you guys have hyped me up. This is going to be our last match of the day. It is our last tiebreaker game. GoDz and John, please take it away.
Alrighty, John. It's time. Our final game of the day, and you've reached your final form. Are you ready? It's SMG versus T1. Winner is third. Loser is fourth place. Both teams get to play those regional finals that were recently announced. So, you know, not the highest of stakes, but DPC points. That's what these two teams are competing for. You know, as well as $1,000, which is a lot of money. But when you're splitting it 5 ways and for a pro Dota team, it doesn't go very far, to be honest.
Yeah, it doesn't quite. In Southeast Asia, it still does, so I think it's still worthwhile playing for that, but that is the bigger issue. Like, going into those regional finals, who will have to play Boom is the question that we're going to be answering today, and I think that's going to be the answer that neither team will really want to do. T1 might be more confident, but we'll see, as, you know, their draft is really interesting. We see the AM from SMG, we see the Broodmother. They do have their Wraith King for Savage. They've got the IO on support. They've got the Pangolier offlane for Cuckoo, which we have seen from him before perform really well. And I'm just keen to see what kind of pace SMG plays, because we saw them in game 1. They played this really fast pace. They were trying to shut down the map really well. Up against T1, that might hurt them, because they are a more turtley team. As we have heard from the pre-game interviews, they love to take it slower, and that's a conception a lot of teams have. I think that's something SMG will look to punish. Try to break up these fights, have the aim split push.
They got the Nightmare on the Brood. Coming in for the body blocks with the Wraithfire Blast. They've got a first blood, given it to Carl. Nicely executed. The rest of SMG have invaded as well, and they've got a ward down. They may look to fight. 4 versus 5. Cuckoo gets a nice shield crash off, giving him some good damage block. 45% being blocked, but now it's mid one in some trouble. He leveled up Mana Break. He's a goner. 2 kills go the way of T1. They may be the slower team, but they are more than happy to come out and get some early kills as a 5-man unit. And that is a good start for them.
That's massive. Carl gets both of those kills. So he gets first blood, he gets a bonus from killing off mid one, and even Moon.
They're chasing Moon
stepping
down.
out of bounds here.
They've got another split earth in 1 second. Moon's got to dodge this, but he can't. He's just got to keep running, and
Oh my
as a
God.
result, it's going to be another kill for Carl.
What?
He even times it. Triple kill. He's on a killing spree. The Horn hasn't even gone, and he's got 3 kills.
Oh my God, this is a great start for T1. Instant bottle being sent out. So you're going to have a good time here on mid with the Lesh and T1 setting up, getting this start that that most people only dream of. Moon will be up in the mid, up against the Leshrac. This is a lane that the Quap can sort of manage. You can trade in wave clear here. Moon can get a little bit more sustained with a Shadow Strike. I think Carl has a lot of harass and kill potential with that stun. So for Moon, he's likely to opt for maybe Blink by 2, going for a 0-1-2 by 3, focusing instead of in Scream of Pain to clear out the wave to keep that pacing with Carl. But Carl already having this level advantage, having that gold advantage is just sickening. Like, he's already level 2, still 1.5 on Moon. I mean, having this bottle minute 0 is just insane.
Oh, they've got a kill down on bottom on Cuckoo. This is... We were talking about this a bit before we came live during the draft. The one weakness of the Pangolier at times is this laning stage. It's a big reason why this hero fell off. Just the low stats, low health pool makes you very vulnerable in lane. And against the Gush plus the right clicks of an anti-mage, you know, AM isn't the worst of laners at times. Top lane, though, they're going to get the kill on Raging Potato. His Brood struggling against the Bane Wraith King, maybe needing a few more levels really before it can come online. Just level 1, so only Spin Web at his disposal. Needs that Silken Bowl or even the Insatiable Hunger for the sustain. Tough lane for the Brood.
Yeah, you do have to watch yourself early on as the Brood, as it does feel like level 3 is your big spike when you have everything in your disposal, or at least a higher level and insatiable to trade hits. And going back to that bot lane though, like at the least here for Cuckoo, he does have the IO, so you can play with Overcharge, you can try to time your shield crash, time your swash on that, but it is still hard to go up against that. Like mid 1 now at level 2, having the protection of a blink, can play a lot more aggressive, look to burn mana and pull back, rinse and repeat. And Cuckoo without mana is going to have a hard time here. Zephyr can top him up slowly. There is some regen coming through, kind of negating that. But you are getting a lot of value. Just Gush slow plus right clicks from AM is pretty painful. And for mid 1, this is a slower laning start than he'd like. 4-0 right now in terms of CS. But you are also keeping Cuckoo in check. Although Cuckoo's getting a lot more despite this early debt he got.
Yeah, it feels like mid 1's being forced into these brawls, which means he's not getting creep. So Cuckoo doesn't even mind the death maybe too much, as long as he's, you know, forcing AM to chew through regen and ignore these creeps. Mid lane, Carl has gotten himself a solo kill. Great move from him. The 2 points in the stun plus the lightning storm sets him up to get a kill on the Quap, who still is yet to level the blink. So tough situation for him to be in, with Carl just dominating mid because of those early kills.
Mid 1, he's really low on bot lane again. Just Cuckoo's constant pressure. Roger trying to shove him away. Get the salve off onto Zephyr to get some regen going, but this is not healthy for mid 1. He's out of regen. Salve on Roger in the stash, so he's not going to get any relief here anytime soon.
Yeah, maybe Roger's intentionally feeding to go get that regen. It looks bad where he just runs in and dies there, but I feel like it's almost intentional because he's going to have to bring that regen to lane. And the couriers, they walk too slow. They weren't going to come in time. So this that death, in some weird way, does help mid 1 out. But this lane is going poorly. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, it's a slow start. Like, the CS of mid 1 still at 9-0. I mean, Cuckoo's not much better at 11-4, but compare that to a Raid King at 17-5. You have a much freer time. And speaking of that top lane, Afu's caught out.
Yep. They get another kill. This is a bloodbath of an early game. Raging Potato wants to kill on Whitemon, going over the trees. 1 or 2 more right clicks. The salve. It ticks only for a second, but that may have just saved his life. Denies the kill. We'll see what Whitemon's play is. It looks like he's just going to walk back to base. 4-minute rune's coming up. Can Carl get the rune bottom? Nope, but he's going to walk his way up top. But a TP coming in. Grimstroke may look to deny Carl from one of these water runes. He's scanning it. He may be in some trouble here. Afu lays the bait, the blink in with the Inkswell. They're going to go in on Carl. Can't land the Split Earth to start things off. Carl, this is a big kill to get. Corpse Moon's trying to make sure he gets it. He times it. That's the dominating streak ending. 400 gold almost going Moon's way. And the second water rune also being picked up. That just salvages his lane, getting that kill. That's huge for Moon.
That is massive. That kind of offsets those earlier kills Carl got. And lets Moon bounce back in lane. He gets 2 rune refills. It's going to be nice and steady on that Leshrac TPing back in. I think you're not getting as much as you'd want in terms of an EXP swing, so Carl still holds a half-level lead because of those earlier kills. You have to share the EXP with your support, but you are still managing that mid, and we've heard a lot of players talk about tempo coming from mid for a lot of teams. So it's very important for Moon to find. Still has to be cautious, though. Carl does manage to pump out the damage, and Moon is dropping low. He does have the blink, so he's not really in danger, but as the levels go up in the Slush, the magic damage shooting up here, Parker, and pretty soon he might be able to force a push out if he does find that opportunity with Edict up.
Yeah. Just the level 1 Edict we could see there. It's kind of just tickling the tower. It's not quite the pushing force that Leshrac will become once you get like 3 or 4 points into it. For now, Moon's being forced to salve up against the Lightning Storm spam, but he's back to full health, so should be okay. The Bane and Grim, they're lingering around this mid lane, both recognizing the importance of these runes and this constant clash and spell exchange happening in the mid lane, trying to help out their mid laners, but Whitemon needs to be a little bit careful not to get caught out here. 6-minute rune coming up soon, and that's what both these mid laners have their eyes on.
Oh yeah, a lot of emphasis on those power runes, lots of resources being committed. At least with Moon at 6, he doesn't even have Sonic Wave. He does opt to just get more Shadow Strike, get more Scream of Pain for rune control. Carl does take the Arcane. That's a big one on Lesh. More spells to spam out. Still only a level 1 Edict, as you mentioned, Parker, only tickling the tower. But if you find that opportunity to get a good stun off, start to get the Pulse Nova off, you can line up for kill. So some potential coming through there for Carl. Moon at the least has the Bounty Rune to top up on. But all of that movement has been opening for side lanes. Look at Roger again down bot.
Yeah, just constantly being pressured. And mid one's burning their mana, but he can't really do much more than that. His damage output just isn't really there. The Tide Gust trying to lower their armor, but this lane is not looking all too strong, even with the Orb of Corrosion Rush on mid one. And that just means he doesn't have that sustain, you know, like the Ring of Health that you really want on Anti-Mage to build towards your Battle Fury and give you that free regen. It's going to take some time before it comes up.
It's going to be a bit of an issue there for the AM. Slower laning start, and his CS is still kind of down in the gutter, 22-2, compared to our Wraith King now at 2 times, 49-8. So in that build-up towards Battle Fury, that build-up you want to get your farm going, up against a very fast farming hero just by his skills on the Wraith King is going to be worrisome. They are trying to apply pressure top. You know, Raging does have the Spider Links up. They've got the Inkswell combo. They can try to rush in, and they can start to look for that push on the top lane now. Kind of shut Savage down, but I feel like Savage has gotten enough in lane that at level 7 he can just play in the jungle quite nice. He just has to avoid Raging Potato and his annoying army.
Yeah. And later on, maybe once Cuckoo gets the levels or farm, he can maybe deal a bit by the Brood. Bottom lane, no blink for another second. He will get out just in time on mid one. That blink coming up, but like if Cuckoo gets a Maelstrom or something, he can just go to the lane and swashbuckle or shield crash some Spiderlings. So they've got tools, not to mention the Leshrac, another hero that can kind of defend against the Brood. So even if Wraith King can't maybe hold his own against the Brood, you might just happily give up one tower and then defend the others using some of these other core heroes who are going to hit some early power spikes.
Yeah, it will be down to the core, so as the panel pointed out, our supports don't do anything against that Brood, so they've got to be ready to commit on the side of T1. Carl already showing up top, as you mentioned, clearing out some of that creep wave, playing in the Brood lane, getting that wave clear going to prevent any early push on that tower. And T1 riding through this early game really strong here. 2-8, 3k lead their way. What most people would expect to be defensive play from T1 has lined up. They've found their own kills, they found the setups, and are just actually putting a dent on SMG, who have not gotten the initial farm they need. Mid one's already playing the jungle, but the pace for AM in the jungle without even power treads is just abysmal. So you've got to find a way to get that space out. They are playing top though, Carl.
Yeah, rotating on in. They've managed to bring down Afu to start things off. Raging Potato just has to vacate this lane. So not looking to give up that early tower to the Brood, and with the Cuckoo appearing as well with the relocate, they're going to bring down Raging Potato as well. He leaves Cuckoo behind, making sure they get the kill, and also maybe worried that there was a gank waiting for them at bottom, but nothing there. So back to the bottom lane, Cuckoo will TP in. Great find on the Broodmother. They are just straight up winning all 3 lanes. The Leshrac with a fairly decent gold lead over the Quap in mid, and the 2 side lanes also winning as well, with the AM struggling severely against Cuckoo's Pangolier. And they get these kills though. Moon's rotation, looking to salvage things. It's a Sonic Wave just to kill off Zephyr, but they probably needed the damage. I don't think they were going to get the kill without it. He could have tethered away if they didn't use it.
Yeah, it's not the biggest kill to get with that big spell, but you do kind of want to get that ball rolling your way. So every single pickoff counts. That's still something to go the way of Moon to help him catch up after that slower laning start, and to kind of hit those initial item spikes as this Quap. We've normally been seeing Kaya Sanj rush, wondering if Moon will want to go the same route for durability up front. And if he does hit that spike, he can set up for the team. So we'll see. And then right now, the only hero that can really play forward in the lanes is Raging Potato. He's still trying to work that top lane, but he can't really fully commit for the push. Inside of T1 are starting to clump down bot. They TP in Savage. They're looking for their own push in that bot tier 1.
Yep. They've also figured out what mid one's up to, just playing the jungle, going for the farm there. Luckily for mid one, he's got that Possessed Mask. He could go for Rolling Thunder, but decides against it. Mid one's blink, only level 2. They don't exactly know how he's skilled up here, whether or not he's got that level 3 blink or not. But they decide not to waste the Rolling Thunder and just happy to kind of force him away. Coming in on mid though, this time around they will commit the Rolling Thunder. They want Moon's Queen of Pain. Instead, they're going to have to settle for Roger's Tide. But this also will give them perhaps this tier 1 mid tower. They've got the level 4 Diabolic Edict, and this time around, with the creeps cleared out and a siege wagon, I don't know if SMG can do anything to defend this one.
They still have Moon hanging around trying to clear out the wave, but they've got the siege creep all the way back.
Double Mana Void. Trying to use this combo. Does a lot of damage. The Nightmare is there onto Cuckoo to keep him alive, as well as gets the Swashbuckle off. He's being brought down low with the Spiderlings from Brood getting the kill. He does manage to spawn some out. Whitemore now being chased down by those spiders. Full retreat as they kill off the Io. Well, sorry, the Io and Leshrac kill off one more in the backlines. Moon doing a good job hunting, but they've lost Afu to 23 Savage. All 10 heroes here in the mid lane for this T1 mid tower. SMG still lose the tower, and they only get 2 in return. the Pangolier and the Bane, it feels like it's not quite enough for them.
Definitely not. And it's not over with a bit of a relocate as well.
Yep. Oh, it's a 2-2 tower. Ooh. They tried to keep the Siege Wagon alive. I believe with this Edict running, they may still be able to get this. No, they're going to back off, play it safe. They leave the Leshrac down bottom. 23 Savage shows up with the Skelly Boys, but it's Zephyr dying on the eye up top. Smart decision to leave the Leshrac behind. And they got a tier 2 tower. 12 minutes in, they're taking the enemy outpost.
That is insanity. Such a quick pace from T1. The panel, mentioned that they tend to lean towards longer games. It's not looking that long from T1 when this kind of pace coming through, Parker. They've just gotten online really fast. They know they've got this early power spike. They know they've slowed down the AM. There's not enough on the Brood to be a massive threat. And speaking of, Raging's caught up top.
Oh, the Yule set up. There's no running away from this combo. Cuckoo there to follow it up. They've brought down the Brood. The one hero that's, needs to not necessarily be carrying this game, but at least creating space for the AM to come online. That's not the best way to do it, but it has created enough room maybe for SMG to get this mid-tier 1 tower. Can they get here in time to defend this one? It's being pinged out. T1 don't want to let it go for free, and it's just a Quap, not their best hero to push with. But it does feel like Io can't defend this on his own. The rotations are coming, but it's going to be too late, and Moon does manage to bring down the tower. Doesn't look like there's going to be any punish, so nice response. They see T1 overcommit, well, not overcommit, but commit top on the Brood. They manage to pressure and take the mid-tier 1.
Something coming out from SMG, a little bit more room for them to maybe make forays into that top jungle with their Brood Mother. Maybe looking for some room to open up for their AM to farm up. Mid one still working towards the Battle Fury. It doesn't look to be too bad of a timing, considering that laning start, but it's got to come out sooner rather than later. You want to be able to flash farm. You want to be able to work the map to your advantage. Interesting item buildups here as well, Parker, from SMG. Moon straight into the BKB, lacking the recipe, so he wants to be that front line. He understands he has to play a faster pace to buy AM that space. They are going for a bit of a smoke play here on SMG. No forward vision. It's a bit blind here, but they do at least see Cuckoo up top.
Feels like they want to bait this Brood, knowing that a few times T1 have made that rotation. Rage Potato, he's 0 and 5. Not having a good time on this Brood, and I like this decision from SMG, but unfortunately for them, they've kind of been scouted out. They do manage to take out 2 Observer Wards, so revealing their position, but taking over a bit in terms of the vision game, but not sure T1 are going to mind that too much. They're more than happy to play down bottom, at least for now. There's not really much of a threat of Roshan, but they've caught out Cuckoo. He overstayed and managed to get found there with the Afu getting that silence from the Phantom's Embrace.
Nice pick off to get. That's a lot of wave clear gone now from T1, but they're going for their own smoke play now. Not scouted up by the wards. They did smoke a bit further back, camping the triangle, but no one's here. They could look for the flank play from behind. That would be big, but they've got some tools here in SMG, Parker. They've got the Ravage ready on Roger. As long as he doesn't get caught out first, they could turn, but he's up front here.
He may just have to be the sacrificial lamb. We'll see if they can get more Rolling Thunder on the back lines. Catching a couple in the trees here. They've done a really good job of finding SMG, making it so that they don't just get the Tide. Can the Brood TP out in time? He does. So just the 2 kills in the end. Could have been a whole lot worse, but they see the Queen of Pain, and Pain setting up, has a Fiend's Grip in the trees. Can he find him? Oh, really smart from Moon to blink into those trees. Whitemon was fishing for him. If he found him with a Nightmare or a Fiend's Grip, that was a guaranteed kill.
Oh man, it's on the edge for SMG, and they're trying to get the push they need up top. They want to open out the outpost, really take over the top jungle. T1 isn't allowing it. They get a good angle out. They lost Cuckoo earlier on, but they managed to turn it. They only find supports, so the losses for SMG isn't that big, but T1 are still posturing really aggressively, sticking towards mid, playing as 3 or 4 heroes. They are starting Roshan here with a skeleton army. There are Brood webs, and they can scout around with a Spiderling, so there's still an angle here for SMG. They still got that Ravage in Roger.
Well, they need to get here soon. The Tide making his way over the pit. He's nearby. He can walk in very soon, and I think T1 don't want to get caught inside the pit, but they'll more than happily take a fight. Moon's BKB may catch him by surprise, and with Cuckoo being chainstone, the Ravage is going to catch 3. Leshrac does dodge it with the Yule Scepter. They need to bring down this Zephyr Io, and Moon's going to make sure they do. He's being Fiend's Gripped up. Whitemon, his Shadow Amulet. He loves to make this play, and they can't cancel his grip. Oh, the sneaky, sneaky Bane. Using that Shadow Amulet to great effect. It do trade 2 for 2, so not the, disaster of a fight for SMG. It's space from mid 1's AM, but does look like T1 may secure themselves Roshan here. Spiderling scouting things out. The Inkswell on the Spiderling. That's a pesky little combo, but Aegis will be claimed. 23 Savage on the Wraith King, picking it up. A bit surprised they don't give it to Lesh. Wraith King, I guess, going for the 3 lives. Maybe just worried that the Aegis was going to be sniped. So from that perspective, totally makes sense that 23 Savage would just guarantee they pick it up.
Yeah, there was a chance for even a deny from the Spiderlings, especially since they almost timed that Inkswell perfectly. I think if they just sent it 1 second later, that would be right when Roche falls. They could instantly deny, take that tool away from T1, and keep themselves up. For SMG, valiant attempt on that counterfight, right? Like, they jump in, they had a Ravage, they found the angle. They lack detection. They've got to respect that on Whitemon with his Shadow Amulet. He can just find a good position, and they might lose Roger again.
Sad Tide life. It's not the easiest hero to play as a 5 at times, but he is getting his way out of there. Cuckoo. Ooh, doesn't quite finish him off with the swashbuckle. Another no blink on the 23 Savage Wraith King just yet, so looks like Tide will survive for now. And we'll see where T1 head next. This top tier 1 tower, very, very low. It's in deny range, in fact. But this is usually the part of the game with this first Aegis where you just go for that map control. Bottom lane, Moon's being forced to BKB. The Yules combo was hunting, and instead, Leshrac going to go for the other kill onto Arthur, who does manage to TP out. So Carl, unable to find the kills that he was hoping to get in the bottom lane, but does force out the quad BKB.
And just dropping the uses here on Moon all the way down to 7. Second charge already. And really not finding much with it. That's the issue with a BKB rush in Queen of Pain. Sure, you can frontline, you can stand your ground, but it's as the panel pointed out, this hero is a very burst hero. It's not a sustained fight hero. And BKB is for sustained fights. As that drops down, you still have a window where you can get that burst off, but what do you do with the rest of that spell? I mean, there's not much. There's not enough to rip through these heroes on T1 unless you're really just targeting the supports. But it feels like you have an issue with the cores instead. Like, the Wraith King is becoming very hard to kill on Savage. He has a lot of damage coming through. The Leshrac has a lot of sustained damage in comparison to her Quap. The wave clear is coming through. Cuckoo, he is behind across all the cores. Like, he's behind even Mid-1, who went to that slow start in the AM. But you don't need much on that Pangolier. He really just needs to roll in, be tanky, and set up for the team, and he's still getting the job done. T1 with a 5k lead, trying to work the map. SMG's done a good job of shoving out the lanes. So their high ground isn't under direct threat. The mid-tier 2 is being pressured a little bit, but everything else is still kind of in control. I think the issue for SMG is, we saw Raging Potatoes early game here, Parker. He's not able to apply that map pressure you want. He's just not shutting down that top jungle away from T1, so they're still finding really good farm across every core here.
And that's definitely going to become a concern as they continue to get picked off. Up in the bottom lane gets found, and T1. The one thing, I guess, as far as any good news goes for the... Oh, hold that thought. They're being chased down, relocate in. Ion Wraith King, do they want to blink forward? They don't have that blink yet. It's coming out on the courier, I believe. Oh, no, he lost his courier, sorry. And T1 playing this map control game. It doesn't feel like, they're completely starving out SMG. SMG are managing to get on the map and get some farm, keeping it just a 5k gold lead, and also finding some pickoffs while they're at it. They kill the Bane, who gets caught out alone. Moon, once again, though, forced to BKB just defensively to keep himself alive. And they're chasing, looking for more. Cuckoo does have the Rolling Thunder, but without the gap close of something like a Blink Dagger, it's hard to get on top of these SMG heroes.
Ends up being a support for support trade. Pause 5, switching lives. I think it really doesn't favor either side. It's a very even gold trade as well, but killing off the Tide does stall out that blink timing, so I think that hurts more for SMG. Roger trying to save up, trying to get that initiation tool for SMG to follow up with the Queen of Pain or set things up for Moon on the Queen of Pain to find the angle. And you did mention SMG is getting some farm space out, and they are kind of keeping up to an extent with Mid-1 with the Battle Fury up, but it needs to come out faster, and that means they need to hold on longer. The mid-tier 1 does get taken out by Savage, so even less control on the map now with only one outer tower left. T1 can start to think about high ground. Like, they could clear the tier 2, look for the Mega Creeps play if they want to. They melt towers very fast with that Wraith King with the Leshrac on hand. They don't have too much time on the Aegis here, Parker, but you still have 2 lives in a Wraith King anyway without that.
Yep.
So I don't think it's a massive issue at all for T1 if they did look to play aggressive here.
Well, they're not happy with Roger's tie. There always seems to be hunting him. He takes back the outpost in the Radiant jungle, which you're going to imagine they're not going to be happy to settle with. Almost finding the Anti-Mage's Whitemon. He's hoping to get that Nightmare or a grip off, but doesn't quite connect and get in range. Oh. And we're going to see where the next move is going to be from them. As we get ourselves a bit of a disconnect, we're reconnecting back in, and Carl farming up the jungle. Well, it feels like a game for T1 where it's like second Roshan is where like really big things are going to happen. Whitemon in the bottom jungle. Ooh, he's looking, he's fishing, but there's a tide here as well. Mid one's being protected. He was looking for the Glimmer Cape into like Nightmare or Grip Play onto the AM, but with the tide there, it's tricky to get that in. Mid one doing a good job of getting himself out of there. Back in the mid lane, though. Not so lucky is Grimstroke. He gets brought down by the Rolling Thunder.
Nice free kill coming down here for the side of T1. They managed to catch up Moon, but he is a bit more slippery for Cuckoo to pin down without that Rolling Thunder. But this is the point now where T1 can't just pressure these two lanes without tier 2s. Are going to make the play on Cuckoo, though.
Yeah. Trying to force him to do something. Defensive heals is there. He dodges the Sonic Wave. And with the IO giving him some extra sustain, he's turning this one around. Ravage comes out, catches a couple, but Carl on the Leshrac, he's still alive for now. He's trying to heal his way through this one. Mana Void does some good damage to kill the Lesh, but it's not enough for the rest of them. Now the grip is there. It's on to Moon. They don't have a way to cancel this one. 23 Savage still has reincarnation, so they can't do anything about this Wraith King. And with Brood being slept up, that gives time for the Wraithfire Blast to come back up, allowing them to set up on Raging Potato to bring him down as well, beyond godlike Wraith King. They lose the Leshrac and lose some Bloodstone charges, but they'll be more than happy with the result of that fight, and they're not done. They go in, blinking, looking for more. Savage has got some backup, but decides better of diving. Cuckoo, on the other hand, thinks this is the best plan we've got. Let's do it. It's time to roll. But 23 Savage, eyes on the prize, going for that tier 3 tower.
And he's got the summon, so he's blinking in, though. Being aggressive, poking and prodding. T1 just keeping SMG away from the defense. And the Fortify does stall out long enough that T1 don't feel comfy to close it and take the objective. They've got to respond to a bit of a shove in from top as well. But Carl is back up. Next Roche, as you mentioned, Parker, only half a minute away. And there's a double damage rune hanging out by the Roche pit as well. So it could be a fast one, as is tradition. When that DD is there, you know Roche is not too far off.
Yeah, they're going to scout it in just a second. I was like, oh, hey, well, look at this. Maybe this is where maybe the Leshrac gives the bottle over to the Wraith King. Oh, he's just going to pick it up. Okay. They don't hold on to it. They look to go take that fight. Perhaps just not realizing that Carl was nearby with that. Oh my god! He almost one-shots him. I wish that was a one-shot. He left him on about 50 health, and Raging Potato, ooh, nice TP out. Finds a nice little cheeky spot to get out and away from T1, who were hunting. They smelled blood. Instead, T1 may just have to settle for some of these outer towers. Well, there's only one outer tower left. They don't have a creep wave pushing top. Relocate down bottom. Bane gets the backup, but didn't manage to catch mid one.
They are keeping them pinned there, though. Like, there's a shove in from T1 on mid, and they are still keeping that presence up. Mid one does not find them. So they do manage to keep the other heroes on SMG in check. Roche only half a minute away here, Parker. No DD anymore, unfortunately, without the bottle up on Savage, but they're in a good position to just look for that second Roche, as you mentioned. Go for the high ground right after with the Aegis, with free Ag Shard, and that will set up for T1. SMG doing a good job of split pushing with Moon, with the AM, getting some farm where they can. Kaya already up on Moon, so a little bit of spell amp in play. Gonna go for that Kaya Sanch, as we tend to see, with the Ag Shard with Sonic Boom. So that's gonna be a nice spike for Moon, in terms of at least getting some control off, and maybe setting up for the Ravage, jumping in first, having that follow-through control. It's gonna be big. The side of T1 are still comfy in this map. They're not being shoved out anywhere on the map. They see the Roshan. Savage with Zephyr around to give him a tether bonus. Should make short work of this Roshan.
Yeah, unfortunately for SMG, I'm not sure they're in a position in terms of where they're at item-wise to contest this one, but they may feel like they just have to. Grimstroke as well as Quap just down in the bottom part of the map, so it looks like they may just be giving this one up for free. Roger has a blink. Is he going to go for the steal? Thinks about it, goes in, blink Ravage, but Aegis has already been picked up, and that's a big Ravage cooldown. They kill off Whitemon, but Roger will definitely pay the price, and they may go looking for more. Moon's got to be a little bit careful here. He will have to set things off. He's got to make sure he doesn't get caught by any kind of a stun here as the BKB Wraith King on the front lines trying to find that follow-up kill, but it's just the Tidehunter, so they end up trading support for support.
Oh god. Are they gonna find it? There's an Ag Shard. They just left a shard. Okay, they didn't find it on SMG.
Yeah.
Cuckoo
realizes. Yeah. Probably
yeah,
you know, SMG's not checking. They're not clicking every hero to see who got the shard, but T1's suddenly like, wait, who got the shard? What? Okay, let's go back.
Yeah, they pick it up. They already have the shard on Savage. He flew it out, so he's going to be protected from the AM's mana burn. We'll always have that re-ink up. Savage is pretty far forward here. Moon looking to set up, but does manage to blink out in time. So forcing movements up top. They could look to shove in here on the side of SMG, but T1 with the Aegis, T1 with the Lesh, and they can just look to pressure high ground once more. They've got the protection of 2 lives. And for SMG now, all they can do is kind of split focus, force a response out, and hope for the best in kind of splitting T1 apart.
Yeah. What's his smoke move looking to achieve? Carl on the front lines has an Aegis. He's not the best of targets, but they'd love to get this IO. They blink him with that Scream, get the silence out on the IO, and they do manage to bring him down before he can even use something like his Holy Locket. Carl has chewed through most of his mana pool. He's a big ticking time bomb. Mid one finds the mana void. No one's next to him. They do a good job splitting up to make sure the damage doesn't bounce on anyone else, but now that Leshrac is on his second life, will they still go for the high ground play here? 23 Savage blinks in, looking for the Grimstroke, and they'll get that 1 kill. He thinks about the tier 3 tower, but quickly realizes and thinks better of it. SMG doing a good job of stalling this game out and delaying things, but now with these big spells on cooldown, no mana void for the Leshrac. We'll see if they can hold. Cuckoo getting low. So be a little bit careful with this Pangolier here. They want this tower here. The Sonic Wave coming through, and the Pangolier does get the Yules off as well as the Swashbuckle, but he's being chased down. Tide dies and buys back immediately. Mid one's on the backline, wants the Bane, but with the Nightmare, he can't do anything about that. Elsewhere, 23 Savage is just chewing and chopping people up on the high ground, but he's lost his target. The BKB, he's going to carry his big fat axe out of there and leave without taking that tier 3 tower that he was hoping to get.
Yeah. Successful defense for SMG in the end. They managed to get some key kills, isolate Carl with the Aegis. That makes it a lot less comfy for T1 to go onto the high ground. They managed to make it work. They managed to make use of that ticking time bomb. Lush versus AM. Once you drop the mana, very easy to burn down or burst him down with Mana Void. And we are seeing the Ags build up here as well on mid one. So sooner or later, he's going to have those blink fragments up. No easy ways for T1 to clear out those illusions either. It's not like they've got a line. It's not like they've got a Hex to instantly purge down those illusions. So there's going to be a lot of in and out. SMG can play with the blink fragments coming through. And they will be able to burn through that mana on the Lesh. If Carl is constantly targeted by those blink fragments, it's going to be hard for him to do damage. He needs to cast those spells. He's going to be a ticking time bomb that, you know, with the blink fragments up, it's going to be hard for him to maybe split away from his team every single time. So that's a lot of splash you can expect from the AM there.
Yep. We'll see if they find a way to protect the Leshrac through it all. They've obviously been using the IO effectively, but this IO, very quickly, Zephyr's becoming the main target for SMG when they initiate. They try and kill him off first, and then use Carl as that secondary target. Speaking of Carl, he's found Afu. So stun is not going to do enough to bail him out. Nice find for Carl. Starting to rebuild up some of those Bloodstone charges. And he's going to TP mid. A fight is breaking out here. They've got the grip on the Moon. Is there anything to cancel this? Once again, White One, he's kind of invised up. Mid One has the Mana Void. Doesn't really want to use on the Bane. Ends up doing so anyways, just to make sure he tries to keep Moon alive. But Moon gets chased down and brought down by 23 Savage. Things kind of falling apart. Tether through. Mid One getting caught by a Tether stun there. Sick play from Zephyr. Mid One will manage. Oh, he throws a blink fragment out. If he gets stunned, he could be dead here, but he gets out just in time. Gets the blink up as Cuckoo. Rolling Thunder, what's he going to find here? May get up to Roger. Hits him with one stun. Will be ending soon. He goes for the roll-up. Turns around. Really nicely done. Cuckoo sets up 23 Savage to get his 15th kill. 0 deaths. Great game for 23 Savage.
He's truly the Raid King now, not dying. Not a single death on Savage, as he will go back to the high ground. Rinse and repeat, no Ravage to worry about. Only 3 heroes for the defense. And without the Queen of Pain to poke and prod in and out with the Inkswell combo, it's a lot harder for them to stave off this push. In fact, T1 are playing 2 lanes. Cuckoo kind of focusing in, forcing in mid, while the bot lane's the one being cleaned up here.
Yeah, they want to maybe go for the double lane of Rax. We'll see if they do make the play on mid lane. There are 4 SMG heroes alive. No Tide for 28 seconds means no Ravage to worry about. And it looks like, yeah, with the Desolator and the Edict, they just want to go for this second lane, the tier 3 tower, but they blink in with Moon. And so mid one, he goes in, and they're going to take out the first life of the Wraith King. Can they deal with the second? The Leshrac with the BKB is just going to turn and fight, and mid one, he's melting fast. He doesn't get a chance to blink out. He's dead without buyback. He bought out for the Aghanim Scepter, and as a result, they're going to have to defend now without him. Moon is almost finishing off the IO, down to 5 health. They will finish him off with the Spawn Spiderlings. The nuke doing some good damage, but that's the only kill they've managed to get. If they want to stall this out, they don't have a Wraith King reincarnation, but T1 still willing to push with Carl on the front lines for now, at least. They may just reset and wait for that reincarnation to come back up before they go again. It looks like they are resetting on the T1 side.
No need to really pressure here. They've got the advantage on T1. 17 to 33, 16k lead for T1. There's still an outer tower here on the top lane. You can kind of focus in, clear that out first, go for the Mega Creeps play next. And this should be enough time as well to get the IO respawn up. So there'll be a full force for this next fight. SMG are full force as well around that time. AM not too far away from the respawn. They have a Ravage to play with. There's still some good defense here if they want to force the issue.
They may lose this Rax before AIM gets a chance to respawn. That's the worry, though, and that's the timing T1 have found. Wraith King gets reincarnation back. 10 seconds till AIM's back. They haven't got much time. They do send in the Dark Portrait with the Inkswell. Nicely done with the Ravage follow-up, catching all 4. Oh, Roger, the perfect initiation. They're getting the Wraith King low. He has got that reincarnation. Now Cuckoo comes rolling in, and with the BKB Leshrac, they're going to turn this one around on the Brood. Mid one's come back to the fight, but now he's getting caught in the Rolling Thunder. He's getting chain-stunned up here. He doesn't get a spell off. He just gets annihilated. He can't play into the chain stun, and they feel like they've got this game in the bag. They're going for the tier 4 towers. They're going for that killing blow. Cuckoo and Carl charging forward. Carl thinking about going to the fountain, just buying what he can in there. He gets himself a Kaya Sarge, and now going for the last tier 4 tower remaining. 23 Savage has to be a little bit careful. The Dark Portrait causing them some problems here. But they will manage to disengage, and uh-oh, Queen of Pain was trying to go in and make a play. Pays for it with her life, and will have to buy back if they want to defend. It may just be game over. They've lost Grimstroke as well, so no more Dark Portraits to play around. Tier 4 tower being focused. Only the throne left standing, and Moon, he's 1 versus the world. He's going to GG out. It's all over. SMG will finish in 4th place, and congratulations to T1. 3rd place in the SCA DPC League Winter Tour. Not the result they were looking for. You know, the tiebreaker against Fnatic not going their way. This is the only team that managed to beat Boom throughout this tour, but unfortunately some, you know, key losses to Obi, Neon, as well as Fnatic meant they were in these tiebreakers, and they find themselves only getting 3rd place, John.
Yeah, it's a close one for the top of C. Across the entire region, it's been really close. We've had a lot of tiebreakers, Parker, but T1 does hold out in the end. If there was a major, they'd be making it true. Fortunately for all 4 teams, the regional finals will be played, so SMG's not out of it yet. They'll have an opportunity to do so. The only issue is their seeding now is up against Boom. And as you mentioned, T1 was the only team to bring them down, and they placed 3rd. So they don't have to deal with Boom again until later on. We'll have to see if SMG can hold out there. But well played to T1. A perfect game coming out for Savage as well, going like 18-0 on that Wraith King, and they just managed to snowball out. Everyone's saying T1 plays a slow game. It didn't feel slow here at all, Parker, and they had the aggression to match up against SMG.
Yeah, well, today was Fnatic's day. I imagine they're going to be looking forward to that rematch against Boom, a team they didn't play since, you know, early on in the DPC leagues. They have that to look forward to in the regional finals. But for now, T1 finishing in 3rd place. They don't have to play Boom, but with how good Fnatic's looking, they've got a tough opponent in that first round of the regional finals, however you look at it. But that's it with these tiebreakers. The SCA Winter Tour, I believe it's come to a wrap. It's been fun, John. Unfortunately, Mike couldn't join us for these last few days. He couldn't join you. You know, I feel like, you know, a little side piece that's, you know, snuck his way into your life. But I appreciate getting the chance to cast with you these last few weeks.
Oh, yeah, it's been really fun. I'm glad to have casted with you, Parker. Hopefully we'll get Mike in next time. He gets pretty lonely. He gets pretty jealous when I'm with someone else. So hopefully he won't be too jealous when he's back. But it's been a great time, and hopefully everyone's had a good time. But we're not panel to talk about the end of this series.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the tiebreakers today. If you did, then I want to give a good old shout out to our partner, Mate Mate. It's caffeine reimagined for more day and more night, as I have something in my eye. You can get 10% off using the code BTSDota, and you can head over to bts.gg/mate to grab yourself some of this delicious drink. It has definitely helped us get through the last few days of broadcast, all the tiebreakers that had come out. I heard you slurp.
Now that counts.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
You know, in Australian culture, it is polite to slurp your drink.
It is no. We are literally from the same country, and it is not.
Yeah, you're a northerner.
I can't believe you discriminate like this. Anyway, jumping back into the game here, it was a pretty good showing from T1, especially coming off the back of losing to Fnatic.
Well, I mean, you might be saying, hey, the clock is ticking down. Well, this was happening before the horn sounded. Carl had a triple kill before that stage of the game, and it was just a little bit of this chain feeding going on.
I literally left the room to go get a drink. I was like, can't wait to watch this game. It's going to be so hype. I come back, there's 9 kills.
You're like, how? How did this happen?
Oh, man. Yeah, they were just really... I want to highlight Whitemon again. The amount of times this man was able to get away with having this Shadow Amulet, just perfectly positioning himself, making sure he wasn't getting caught by Ravage, baiting out a lot of these blinks aggressively, and then the perfect Fiend's Grip. It always seemed to be targeting onto Moon there and able to just get that 100-0 with the rest of his team. He played a fantastic game.
Yeah, that grip round roast pit was so nice. It's like, you feel so good when you hit your timings. Like, we have BKBs, we can go fight. Like, now's our time, you know? It was rough. We had a rough laning stage, but this is it. And then, yeah, like...
Oh, that.
Okay.
Oh, disgusting.
Dude, it's so sad. I mean, he did not buy a single armor item on Roger, and I was criticizing that a little bit, because... Like, Danog's over here going, oh, it's so broken. I'm like, bro, he bought nothing. He has no armor, no medallion, no phase boost, no soul ring on tie, like nothing to even keep him slightly safe from Wraith King. Of course he's gonna kill most of your health.
Yeah, but I think I'm tainted by the fact that I do buy Solar Crest, and that still happens to me when I play Position 5, so yeah, just a little bit of tilt coming through there, but it was a really good performance coming through from T1 after what I'm sure was a less than ideal series, best of one, coming up against Fnatic. We saw immediately after the game, the only one that was smiling, and he always seems to have a smile on his face, was Cuckoo. The other members of the team much more reserved, not the big smiles that we're used to seeing.
Definitely not. I do want to know from you guys, you know, what was a highlight for you from T1? Obviously, they had that good start, but was there a specific play that sort of stood out for you that really solidified for you why they were going to be winning against SMG?
I don't think it's one specific play. It's just like we highlighted during the draft the fact that they've got this... support duo in Whitemon and Zephyr that do not deal with the Broodmother at all, and it was Carl most of the time that was like, alright, well, Brood's going to be doing Brood things, trying to push the fact that our supports can't deal with it. I'm always going to make sure I've got that Boots of Travel super early on. I'm going to rotate, I'm going to defend, I'm going to have my team backing me up, I'm going to go a Yule Scepter so that you've got multiple ways to cancel a TP. I think it was just really good play by Carl, to be perfectly honest. And then it wasn't for the laning stage, the IO, but once you get into that mid-game, IO paired together with the Leshrac is just so much sustained damage.
Yeah, they had a really good idea of like when they're strong and who can play together. Like, Brood is chilling top, and they'll go and put Cuckoo and Carl up there to go kill her together. It's like... not some teams, but a lot of players have the misconception of like you can't have your cores together all the time. You gotta like split up and farm. But like they're like, okay, we know these are the heroes we need to kill Brood. These are the supports we need to bring. This is what we can do. And like they just doing that across the map. They're going top, instantly TPing bot again. They're trying to like take up as much map space as they can against SMG to keep pressuring them.
Look, you said coming out of that, the player cams, Cuckoo had a big smile on his face, and well, luckily for you, Danog, and absolutely no one else, we do have him for an interview, so we can ask him some questions. Cuckoo, how are you and the team feeling after the win, knowing you guys have come third in the DPC?
Hello?
Hello.
I'm happy but sad. Yeah.
Sad, how come?
Uh, just the Dota player thing. It's like if you lose even one game, and it's a special series also. Yeah, and it's a yeah. We
Def
finished like third only.
Yeah, definitely understandable, but I want to know for you, what do you think your strengths were in this game against SMG?
I think they give us so much space on early, like triple kill on Carl. So we just play fast, and they don't expect that.
Yeah, definitely.
On the other side of the coin, you seem to have struggled now against Fnatic in your like previous series and in this best of one. Do you think like, or how do you think they changed as a team to like be able to beat you now? And like, how are you gonna prepare to beat them in the future?
I think they really good understanding of their team, and their duo course is so strong. The Armel and Raven. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. For this one in particular, obviously people are saying that it's going to be second playing up against third, so you're going to have the opportunity to come up against Fnatic. Was it ever a consideration just to be like, we want to make sure that we've got the result to be able to play against Boom, who you had obviously a much better record against? Or is it just, look, if we're going to win these regionals, we're going to need to beat everyone, so it doesn't matter who we play?
I think it doesn't matter who we play. So yeah. I think we're more struggling on Fnatic than others. I don't know how they magica. Yeah.
How did you feel playing Spirit Breaker in the last game? 'Cause I don't think we've seen you play it yet.
I think that hero is kinda hard to play against pass push, so maybe it's a bad pick for us. So if like the game is like keep pick up and just farm, I think the SB is so good. But in the Luna and Beastmaster lineup, I think it's not so good. So yeah.
Cuckoo, thank you so much for joining us for the interview. Congratulations on third place, you and the team. Definitely have something to be proud of, but thank you for joining us, and I'll let you go to celebrate.
Bye bye.
Bye. Just Dota player thinks, even when you lose, even when you come third, there's still that bit of you that's sad.
When you lose, you feel sad.
Or even when you win, even
Yeah.
when you lose, but then win and come third out of 8, and still gonna play in the regional finals, you still feel sad.
You feel sad. Yeah, I think like that you talk to any pro Dota player and they're just like miserable when they lose. It doesn't matter. Like
Even if they end up winning the next game.
I mean, we're literally living with Ponlo and he's like top of NA, right? And he's loses to EG and he's like, I'm sad.
He's sulking around the house.
Yeah.
We jump into the Division 1 standings. We knew that Boom Esports was always sitting there on top. They come out in first place for SEA, and with the tiebreakers now all finished, we have a clear-cut Fnatic, T1, SMG as your top 4 going into the regional finals, followed by OB Neon, Execration, and then Motivate, Trust, TNC will be the 2 teams to fall down to Division 2 in Season 2 of the DPC.
A little bit of daylight robbery.
Yeah, I see you just having a little bit of a sad face over there, Danog.
I'm so sad. My favorite team. Oh, well, that means I get to cast them in Div 2 if I'm going to be doing that again with Ares. Always a good fun. We were casting them towards the end of the last year, which is always great. But, I mean, we look at it at the end of the day, and there is a very clear top 4. So I feel like for SEA in particular, the fact that you're going to get all 4 of these teams able to play off for those DPC points, it's very fitting.
100%. Before we close out for today, though, I do
For
want
all of
I was about to
SEA.
say, not for today. This
Well,
is the end.
I was going to say, is there anything you guys would like to say? You guys never let me finish, I swear.
Matt, you need to just get to the point faster.
Okay. So we're about to go home. Is there anything you guys want to say?
So long down. Seriously, I swear to God.
Hey, Shippo, is there anything you want to say at the end of the SEA season?
Man, I love mate and drinking it very much. It is my favorite
haven't
beverage.
Seen you take a sip of it on broadcast.
That's because he drinks all of it.
That's
like,
actually true. We
like,
had
what do you
like
want from me?
one slab left,
You
and
just-
he's like chunked through half
Yeah,
of
they're
it.
like, careful, guys. He's just like, okay.
But legitimately,
but
is
no.
there anything?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've been here since the beginning of the CDPC. I did the first half and the second half. I think like watching Doa like properly for the first time, because obviously I've watched every single game. It's been like really fun. Like the region is so entertaining. The teams they have such a like really fun to watch style of Dota, and the players are like so full of personality. I think when we like on the other side, we've been covering Europe East. Some of their interviews have been like a little dry, but like C players are so like funny, and they're always all telling each other. Like the region is a blast. Honestly, I think this has been like an extremely fun 6 weeks. I'm like so grateful that I got to experience it. I love Doa. I love you guys.
Yeah, and John tweeted about it as well, just to talk about the colorfulness of the players. I mean, even just in that series, we had Carl leaving the lobby during the pick phase and rejoining it just so he could spam more voice lines. That's what you were picking up there during the draft phase, constantly just back to back to back to back, all those ones back and forth. But I've had an absolute pleasure being here as well, covering Dota. I've been doing it for a while now, so it's great to be here in the studio, and yeah, I'm keen to see how this regional finals shapes out.
Yeah, thanks for welcoming me to your region. It's been amazing.
You guys are so sweet.
And thank you, Nat, as well. You've been great.
Yeah, Nat, our favorite host. Sorry, Ava. Our favorite host.
Bless. But that is it for SEA Dota. We close the books on it. We will be back tomorrow for the Eastern European tiebreaker, but that is going to be all of SEA Dota. Thank you guys so much for Season 1 DPC, the Winter Tour. I could make this go on forever and ever, but I won't. I will let you guys go, and hopefully I will see you tomorrow for the Eastern European Dota.